We were supposed to get it together. At one time, I thought that's what kids was.
Gata of atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Evil karma ever committed by me since of old on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 refuges. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra, which you'll find on page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form, sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond delusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim Gate Gate Para Gate Parsam Gate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parsam Gate Bodhisvaha Gate Gate Para Gate Parsam Gate Bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be cleared from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate the merits of this practice to Stephen, Christine, Mary, Roger, Sandra, Debbie, Emma, Mike, Art, Joe, Hazel, Sokai. May they have peace and healing. And Herman, Angie, Jessica, Donna, Mr. Perkins at the time of their deaths, and those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. 'All are one, all 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 are one everyone. I believe you have Dharma school today. Do you have Dharma school? No?
Yes.
All right, Dharma school folks, please exit the zendo. Rest of us, please be seated for zazen. Please stand for Kinhin. Kinhin is our walking meditation. At the sound of the clappers, the first and third rows from the center will turn to the right, the second and fourth will turn to the left. We will start by walking one step per breath, and at the second sound of the clappers, we will proceed at a normal pace, following the person in front of us. We will now recite the Song of Covenant, which you can find in your liturgy book on page 8. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please sit comfortably so you can see our speakers for today. And we will begin by reciting the Gatha on opening the sutra on the same page, page 8. Gata on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
I said thank you, everyone, for being here. We flipped a coin, and I get to go first. I am not nervous, maybe a little bit. And we were asked to talk about the precepts and how the precepts have affected our lives, how we've changed, how our relationship to the precepts have changed and evolved over time. And well, I've had an agonizing couple weeks thinking about that, and it's difficult for me. You know, I think I saw your son had a book called What If? Was that your son? By Randall Munroe. Is anyone familiar with this book? It's kind of literally science fiction. He creates these scenarios and then gives a scientific explanation on what would happen, what if. And I think about that a lot with my practice, that what if I never found this temple? What if I never took the precepts? What if I never found these amazing teachers and this Sangha? What would my life be like right now? I try to think about that. Would I be the kind and compassionate and morally upright person that I am? Or would I be something completely different? It's kind of impossible to really know that. So when I think about how receiving the precepts changed my life, I just have to kind of take a guess at it. And I always struggle with that whenever I have to make a decision. I'm kind of this person who spends way too much time deliberating on, should I do this, should I do that? And one thing that Zen training, especially Dokusan, teaches you is you need to react to situations sometimes quickly, and you can't always, you'll get wrung out of the room pretty quickly if you're trying to think about who you were before your parents were born, or any of these crazy questions you get asked. So I tend to think too much about these kind of things, and sometimes it slows down my decision making. And it took me almost 3 years till I decided to take the precepts. I started coming to this temple in 2012, and that summer it was offered to me I could take the precepts, but I think I had family stuff or other plans, and I wasn't even that excited about taking the precepts. I kept telling myself, I'm just here for the meditation. I don't want to be a Buddhist or any ist or ism or religion. I was here kind of on a self-improvement project, and didn't really care to join this religious cult or whatever it was. I kept telling myself that, I'm here for the meditation. The Tay shows were good too, good entertainment. But, and then I started going to sesshin, and in sesshin was a real powerful experience. You'd spend a weekend in sesshin, and it would resonate for like days and weeks afterwards, and it really started to change me. The sitting practice, I started to, surprisingly, it was changing my heart. I was really becoming a more kind and compassionate person just from the sitting practice. But another year went by, and I still didn't take the precepts, and then finally I decided to take the precepts. Zuisei's nodding. She was in my class. We were brothers and sisters. And I really wasn't that, I hate to say not into it, but I felt like it was just kind of what I needed to do to be a member of the Sangha, to sit comfortably with everyone. I felt it really important that I take these precepts and vow to adhere to kind of a moral and ethical standard of how to conduct my life, that it would make me feel more of a part of the Sangha by doing that. So, but it instantly after receiving this robe and taking these vows, my life changed. I think my life changed. I still don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it changed. And so I want to just mention a few of the precepts that have really had an impact on my life. And the first one being practice good. Very simple precept, right? Practice good. And it really became clear to me. I'd never really thought about karma and things like that until I took these precepts and realized that when you practice good, when you do good, you're doing good, and you're therefore putting good out into the world. And I really started to feel that in my life, that when I would have good intentions and do good things and just simple acts of kindness, that I'm putting this good out into the world for what it's worth. Not taking drugs. One of the reasons I wound up coming to Zen is that I was addicted to nicotine, and I wanted to quit smoking. And smoking is a little like meditation. It's you breathe in, breathe out. I would never smoke in my house. I'd always go outside to smoke. So, I was in nature and feeling at one with the world as I was puffing my cigarettes. And I had this idea that, and I tried to quit many times. I started smoking as a teenager, and here I was over 50, and really tried quitting, and it's really hard to quit smoking. And I thought that I need to I had this plan to like leave home for a while, go away somewhere. I wanted to go on some kind of retreat where I would practice a healthy lifestyle. And I also wanted to develop a spiritual practice, something I didn't really have. So and I didn't want to go to some yoga or culty, flaky kind of new age retreat. And I found this Zen center out in, and I didn't really know what a Zen center was. It was in New Mexico, and I wound up going there. And the second I entered this Zen center, I just knew I would never smoke again. And it's been since 2012, for 12 years now, I haven't had a cigarette. Yeah, you can apply. And so I think about that precept a lot, not taking drugs. I drink a little bit, and it's never been a problem. I've never had a problem with drinking, but I've really noticed that drinking affects your mind. It's not really good for you, and I have a feeling if I hadn't received the precepts, I might drink a lot more than I do now. Just one drink for me, I feel at my morning sit the next day. It makes it harder to sit, and I have much better clarity when I've gone weeks without taking any alcohol or drugs at all. I don't take any drugs. Is my time almost up? Okay. Not indulging in anger. So here's a precept that it didn't really mean much to me at first. I wasn't an angry person and didn't really have a good understanding what that meant. Don't indulge in anger until 2017, the inauguration of our 47th president. I started and I've always been interested in politics, but reading the paper every day, it just made me so angry, and I felt I was like indulging in anger, that I was kind of doing this on purpose, making myself angry on purpose by reading the news. So I tried to not be angry, try to be a little more accepting of the way things are, and understand that people have their differences. It's been really hard in this country over the past many years with the divisiveness, and so there is a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, and a lot of this other precept of not discussing the faults of others. And I've tried to really work on that. My wife loves to talk about the faults of others, and I tell her I don't want to hear about it. I just don't say bad things about other people, even if they do bad things. I feel you need to give people that kind of freedom and not put them in a box by defining them as good or bad, that we all make mistakes, we all have good days and bad days or whatever. Finally, there's a couple precepts that have been the hardest ones for me to live up to, and those are the ones of taking refuge in Sangha and not sparing the Dharma assets. Both of those precepts, I feel, are about giving of yourself. And like I said, I first came here on a self-improvement project. I didn't come here to save all beings. That wasn't on my checklist. My list was quitting smoking, getting my act together and giving of myself. I mean, I pay dues at this temple, right? We all pay dues. It's like some kind of transactional thing going on. What do you mean we have to give of ourselves, don't spare the Dharma assets, take refuge in the Sangha? But I see you all here, and so many kind and generous people. And those, I think, are the precepts that I need to work on to learn the kind of generosity and kindness that I see all around me, including the person sitting next to me.
Thank you. Thank you, Kosho, for going first. Thank you, Rinsen and Sensei, for entrusting this seat on me today. Not unlike Kosho, actually, I resisted taking the precepts pretty hard, actually. That's not gonna stay there, so I'm gonna hold it. It took me a good while to decide that it was for me. But I actually want to go like even farther back, because if I'm going to be honest about how this has impacted my life, I need to actually be honest about like who I am, not just from that point on. But so I was the child that would have mental fits, crying spells if they did not get A's. I was the child that was deemed by the family therapist as the mediator, right? So I'm not the oldest, by the way. So those genes were like strong in me of doing. And when I came to Zen, I was in the midst of recovering from breast cancer, and my marriage was a mess. But I had this really long history of being the one that just did everything. I was the doer. I was the people pleaser. I was not there. Sorry. I often thought they were going to name me like Crying Mountain or something, but that did not happen. Same name, it's fine. So that's how I entered my Zen practice, as this person that cared deeply more about making everyone else in my life happy. I'm not sure I was on the radar anywhere when I walked into temple. I just thought it would be interesting to go experience that and see what it had to offer. And I kept showing up. And I kept waiting for that moment that I was gonna, like, I don't know, peace out. And it just never came. So I think I resisted taking up the precepts because I knew I was gonna have to confront myself, which was the hardest and still continues to be the hardest thing. So what I noticed is through the teachings of all the precepts and my continued practice is that I was really strong on the compassion for everyone else. Like I really do feel like that is like my strong suit, but anyone knows me, like I'm assuming you get that vibe. What is missing is the compassion for me, right? I have really high accountability for myself, high accountability, low compassion. Low accountability for others, high compassion for them. It was very, very, right, when I think about it. So the precepts really helped me to start to bring those two things from so far away to like more as like, oh, actually, I'm no different than Hitler. What? Like, this was really hard for me, which is the seventh precept, not praising yourself while abusing others. I knew the precepts were working for me when all the wars were going on, and I could actually feel compassion and care and accountability for the people waging war, because I knew that's what I needed for myself, right? Because no different. And to feel that shift is probably leads, I mean, they all kind of lead back to the same road, let's be honest. But for me, when I think of the precepts, it's how do I embody these things? How do I embody each and every one of these? I can understand it until the cows come home. I'm pretty smart, you know, can understand. But to embody it, to experience it, that's been the hard part, right? To find that compassion for myself and everyone else. So through the seventh grade precept of not praising self while abusing others, I think that has shown up not only in like distant people, but for people that in my everyday life I feel like are causing chaos. Again, through my divorce, through business transactions, through feeling screwed over by this or that, how do I not say, well, I wouldn't do it that way? How could they do that to me? Well, I actually treat myself like that all the time. So it forced me to go, okay, what do I actually have to do to show up and be compassionate and accountable to the situation and myself all in one? And this is no light work. I should have put a caveat that like, still working on all of these things. Again, the embodiment is the hardest thing. I can stand up here and act like I understand it. And I do understand it, but to embody it, this is why I keep coming back, right? Because if once I understood that, it was like, well, now I gotta do it all. Which is not a problem. It's just why I keep sitting on this cushion and showing up and going to session and dealing with, no offense to all the annoying people in this room. And listening to my annoying self every day. Right, yeah, especially you in the back. Also, the other precept that I wanted to talk about is one we don't actually talk about that much, and it is a little risky. But the third grade precept of not misusing sexuality. Usually we shy away from that one a lot because, you know, it feels super personal and all that stuff. Don't worry, you're not going to get personal deets or anything. But so, you know, again, back history, perfectionistic, people pleaser. I was born in the 80s. You know, I had an eating disorder in high school. Like, body image, sexuality was like a huge deal to me. It was how I thought I was going to be enough. Writing about that precept, I still go back to being confronted with that in Jukai in 2018, and being like, shit. Man, I'm gonna really have to rework that one, right? Because it was just hurting me. I thought I was, and this wasn't just about sex, this was just about flirting or thinking about my enoughness or being concerned about those things overly so. But working on that precept again and forcing myself to put myself in the equation and not just do the thing, but to actually embody this element of my life, it forces me to learn how to truly show up and say yes or no, which I'm 43 now, so I was in my late 30s when I figured this out. That felt a little late. But it changed the course of just how I carry myself in so many situations, not just with my intimate partners. My interactions with people who are being inappropriate, my interactions with just my own uncomfortableness and like not using that to try and like make everything all better in some ways. It has been probably one of my most impactful precepts, to be honest, that has helped me to continue to show up in my life in one of the more powerful ways. So in general, the precepts, this is where they all lie. Everyone has their book when they go through Jukai, everyone's, things in here. And I probably need to pull this out more. But as I was preparing for the talk, I was reading back through all my letters to myself. And actually, I was like, not doing too bad. I'm happy with how things are going. Always things to be improving, but it made me check in, right? On how am I doing with that embodiment aspect of this, right? And probably not an A. It's fine. It's fine. And some of the other major places where I notice this is when I am struggling, right? When I'm like, oh, today is not a good day, right? Today I am angry, upset, actually like really not on par with any of these things. And the precepts are taught to us and given to us in such a way that I don't see them as punishment, right? It's one of the major reasons I was okay with doing that. They're not commandments. They are loving and compassionate teachings that help me go, yeah, this is it too, right? This is the time. This is the time to actually continue to show up or say no. Which is always, I think I said no a couple weeks ago because I was in a bad space. And I think it's the first time I've ever dropped the ball at Temple that hard. And I was like, good job. Good job. That to me is the precept showing up in my life, right? And it's the most powerful thing that I've ever put energy into. And again, we say this a lot, but it makes it more powerful being able to sit up here and practice with Kosho in the way that Kosho's practicing. And, all of you out there, wherever you are at, those help me to do what I'm trying to do for myself and for everyone else. So thank you for helping me to continue to work with the precepts every time, even when I'm not here. It's like a deep, deep well that I feel connected to even when I'm halfway across the country. So I think I have spoken for today. Again, thank you very much.
to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Thank you.